choreo to me is so difficult. There's so much nuance in the timing, like to look exactly like the person next to you. Like when I was in the parking lot with Yaya trying to learn the timing of the routine, because after the first round, like my feedback was to just like work on my timing. So I was like, okay, because every time I do the routine, it's like slightly different. So I'm working with Yaya, and she like, I hear her counting, and like I'm like, oh shit, there's a lot that I wasn't even aware of. Damn, like the way you put your foot down, you know, like the positioning is crazy on the timing. So anyways, I was like, dang, so this is just a skill, you know. But for me, it's in a lot of ways it's so different from what I'm used to. It's so hard to make a comparison. It's like taking somebody that's been, you know, I don't know, traveling their whole life, living on their own clock, and then you give them a 9-to-5 job, and they're like restless, you know, they're like restless, they're like turning in their chair, and they're like, I can't sit down, you know, like I gotta move, I gotta get outside. 'Cause I felt like that when I first went to my desk job. But yeah, it just takes time to learn that skill of memorizing movement and to the timing of the music. But despite that, it was hella fun, like just seeing my friends and all that. But back to like the mind state that I got into, that it really exposed me, because I'm 30 years old now. I feel like not that that's old, but like when I was 20, I never thought I'd make it to 30. So 30, and when I was 10, I never thought I'd make it to 20. So when I'm 30, I'm thinking, this is how, like, I feel comfortable. I'm starting to feel like a little more secure in my journey. And a lot of people that have known me for a while, it's been a real up and down ride. But at 30, I feel like, oh, okay, I'm starting to find my way. And as a street dancer, you're kind of expected to go pursue these big opportunities, like when they present themselves. And that's what's expected, but that's not necessarily how I feel so much anymore. Although I wouldn't turn it down. It's the stress. Like for me, I think the biggest part was when it comes to the auditions. I feel like it exposes me. It exposes me in the sense that, one, I get stuck back into the comparison mindset. I'm looking at the people next to me and I'm seeing how fast they're catching on. And this could go for multiple things in life. Like, we're constantly comparing ourselves to others. But when you devote that much thought into how you are comparing, how you are, you know, where you're located on the totem, that's all the thought that's not going into the task at hand. And I think what happened to me in the moment of those auditions was the comparison mindset, looking at other people that do this all the time and they're picking it up super fast. And I felt like really, like, dang, you know, I'm not used to really sucking at dance. Like, and it's, even though it's within the style, it's a completely different dance when you have to do it exactly like the person next to you. So with that, the comparison mindset mixed with the pressure, which brings up the insecurities, like whether I'm good enough or not, or I shouldn't be here, or all these self-doubts come up in your head, you know. And for me, I think navigating those spaces is something, we can learn how to do that in our everyday life, and remember, like, you know, when you start anything, you're not good at it. I was telling myself, I said, like, outside, after the auditions, I was like, man, do you remember what it was like to start popping? Because that was so difficult. Like, do you forget how bad you were for how long? And then I was like, I'm having this conversation with myself outside. And then as we get older, I feel like we stop trying to do stuff that's new, and we kind of forget how to be uncomfortable, and we kind of start to box ourselves in as an identity, like, oh, this is what I'm doing and this is who I am. And I think that's good in some ways, you know, we're finding our own path and that, but also to be reminded, like, it's never too late to start something, and also that when you do start something, don't be discouraged by the struggle. Don't run away from it. Like, it's when I shut down yesterday, when my brain turned off in that second audition and I couldn't do it, it really exposed me, because I felt like, oh yeah, you know, I feel like I got a good head, a decent head on my shoulders these days, at least. But yeah, there's still that self-doubt and there's still that insecurities. It just takes those situations to put you in it, to bring you back to that. And you're like, dang, I thought I worked through that stuff. And then you really see how deep they go when you get into the real uncomfortable. And you know, it's silly when you put it in perspective, like these auditions and stuff, and like what they mean in the bigger picture. And it's just like, that's what got me to go in the first place. It was like, hey, you know, what's the worst case scenario? I get to see some old friends and say hi and get a free choreo class. But then I was really beating myself up. I woke up in the middle of the night a couple of times, like, dude, like, I was doing the routine still, like, why couldn't you hit that one time? And like, I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm like, damn, I just wanted to do it. I was like, man, I should have just stayed and kept doing it just to show myself that I could do it, you know? Because it's just like echoing in my head. But, you know, these are lessons in life, and not to say that like this experience is gonna make me chase doing choreo better, or part of me wants to kind of prove it to myself that I could actually do it. But it's more for me a reminder of getting older and the desire to want to be comfortable, and to constantly kind of, not constantly, but, you know, periodically do things that are really, really uncomfortable, to remind yourself of those, like, where you came from, those self-doubts, those insecurities. And I think it's beneficial in the sense of, you know, it keeps your mind open to like possibilities of starting something new, or the possibilities of getting through hardships even in the advanced stages of your journey and something else. So yeah, just some thoughts. You know, the industry is a different world, and yeah, we'll see what happens.